Korby's Star Trek Strange New World Season 3 arc explained by Star. Dr. Roger Korby has always loomed large over Star Trek lore, a brilliant scientist, a tragic figure, and the man whose legacy would eventually haunt Captain Kirk. But in Star Trek Strange New World Season 3, Korby transforms from a distant name in TOS canon into one of the franchise's most fascinating long-term character arcs. And now, with one of the series' stars shedding new light on his upcoming storyline, fans finally have a clearer picture of how SNW will thread one of Trek's most unsettling threads through its optimistic 23rd century canvas. What's most exciting is that Korby isn't being treated as a one-off cameo or a simple prequel Easter egg. Instead, Season 3 aims to show the tragic evolution that will one day lead him to the events of What Are Little Girls Made Of, without locking him into villain territory too quickly. According to the cast, his arc is intentionally structured as a slow burn descent. The story of a genius pushed just a little too far by the pressures of exploration, ambition, and the desire to improve humanity. A pre-villain story that still lets Korby be human. The SNW cast member teased that Season 3 paints Korby not as a mad scientist, but as a man who genuinely believes in the Federation's ideals. This isn't the Korby of the icy caverns yet. This is a passionate exobiologist who sees the galaxy's wonders as a puzzle he must solve, even if others might not see the dangers in the edges of that puzzle. This interpretation is critical because it gives Korby agency and sympathy. Rather than starting as an antagonist, he begins as someone the Enterprise crew admires. His brilliance is undeniable, his compassion is real, and his relationship with Nurse Christine Chapel, a TOS cornerstone, is depicted as a genuine partnership built on mutual respect and intellectual curiosity. But the star hints that something deeper begins tugging at Korby early in the season. A discovery, a theory, a breakthrough that's just a bit too enticing. He starts pushing boundaries not out of malice, but out of conviction. That's where the tragedy sets in. How his romance with Chapel shapes the season. For the first time in live action, SNW gets to explore Chapel and Korby not as backstory, but as an active, dynamic relationship. The cast explanation emphasizes that Chapel is not treated as a passive observer. She is central to Korby's motivation. Their shared research and emotional bond form a major pillar of the season. However, it's clear the relationship also becomes a fault line. As Chapel grows closer to Korby, she simultaneously becomes more concerned about the intensity behind his work. The star hinted that Chapel serves as Korby's moral anchor, and that Season 3 will show what happens when he begins to drift beyond where even she can follow. This also sets up a heartbreaking parallel with her connection to Spock. SNW has already positioned Chapel and Spock as a pair pulled apart by destiny. In Season 3, Chapel and Korby become a pair pulled apart by ideology. It's a very different fracture, and it hurts even more. A scientific breakthrough that begins his downfall. While details remain under wraps, the actor teased that Korby's arc hinges on a discovery that changes the way he sees what it means to be alive. Fans of TOS already know where this is headed. The android bodies, the identity transfer experiments, the philosophical nightmare. The SNW is playing the long game. Season 3 won't immediately turn him toward artificial immortality. Instead, it shows the first domino. A moment where Korby sees a future only he believes he can reach. A future where he can save lives, save the Federation, maybe even save himself. The cast made it clear. This is the season where Korby begins justifying the decisions that will someday doom him. How Season 3 sets up his ultimate fate. Rather than rewriting TOS, SNW is crafting an emotional runway for it. Season 3 ends with Korby both more brilliant and more isolated than ever before. The star explained that by the season finale, Korby will still be sympathetic, but unmistakably on the wrong trajectory. The audience is meant to understand him, even root for him, all while feeling the dread of knowing where he ends up. This is exactly the kind of storytelling SNW excels at, honoring canon without being chained to it, deepening classic characters without betraying their legacy. Season 3 doesn't just explain Korby, it makes him tragic, powerful, and painfully human. And by the time his arc eventually intersects with Kirk's, he may stand as one of the most complex figures SNW has ever introduced.